Winston Cup Racing, and here's what's coming up.
It was a wild Saturday afternoon on the short track at Hickory, but hometown hero Tommy Houston came home the winner, snapping a 50-race winless streak. I'll have all the highlights of the Mountain Dew 500.
And we'll talk to the humble Tommy Houston. He's taken some hard knocks over the past year and a half, but a recent win on the Busch Grand National Tour hopefully has turned his career around and has him heading for his first ever BGN Championship.
It's been Fords at the finish for the first 7 races in a season full of surprises. We'll recap the first quarter of the campaign that has produced some heroes and some headaches.
Inside Winston Cup Racing is brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm. By Champion Spark Plugs, the world's #1 selling spark plug, no matter what you drive. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires.
Guess who just got back today? Them wild-eyed boys that had been away. The boys are back in town, boys are back in town.
The Miller Genuine Draft Rusty Wallace stock car is back in town. So you better hold on.
Spread the word around. Guess who's back in town?
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
You'd think the world would be nothing but a blur at this speed. But at 200 miles an hour, a lot of things become clear. Like what technology can help make our cars perform better, our trucks tougher, and help make them all safer for the street. Because at Ford, we want to stay ahead in more places than just the racetrack. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Richard Petty, the only driver ever to win 200 Winston Cup races, all on Champion Spark Plugs.
Jerry, your help out here really does make a difference in the way I run.
Well, Richard, this is our testing ground. It makes a difference in the way we build our spark plugs, too.
They work for me in both my cars. Whether I'm racing or going home, I depend on Champion Spark Plugs.
You're watching TNN, the Nashville Network.
The Mountain Dew 500 NASCAR Busch Grand National Race was originally scheduled for the week after the Daytona 500 back in February. The field was already set in qualifying, but then rains came on Sunday, so it was rescheduled for the Easter weekend on Saturday afternoon. They had a Stettler field for that 300-lap event. Bill Weber has the highlights.
Well, our own Ned Jarrett was part of the story here at Hickory. For his years of service to the sport and to the Speedway, Ned was honored with the dedication of the Ned Jarrett Grandstand at Hickory Motor Speedway. And as you can see, the grandstands were packed for the Mountain Dew 500. Congratulations, Ned. After sitting on the pole for almost 2 months, Steve Grissom led the 30-car field onto the track for a wild 300-lap race. The recently repaved racing surface was a problem from start to finish. Early victims of the treacherous track included Jeff Green, Tommy Houston, Ed Ferree, and Ernie Irvin. NASCAR was forced to red flag the race on lap 35 and sweep the rubber and broken pavement from the track. Jeff Gordon's day ended shortly after the race was restarted. He finished 28th. A second red flag gave officials another chance to sweep the track, but the trend was already set. The race was well on its way to a record number of cautions. The single groove meant once you got out of line, you went to the end of the line. Of course, the safest place to be was up front, where Steve Grissom, Dale Earnhardt, and Bobby Labonte took a turn at leading the early stages of the race. But there was little racing, as the track and traffic gobbled up contenders and their cars. Jim Bound was a victim, along with Richard Lassiter, Kenny Wallace, and Scott Kilby. On the occasional laps where the green did fly, the battle for first was worth watching. Jimmy Hensley started 19th and patiently dodged his way around traffic past Jimmy Spencer to take the lead on lap 134. After Steve Boley hit the wall, Tommy Houston tried to get back on the lead lap, but lost his battle with Hensley in turn 4, caution number 16. But one restart later, Houston got past Hensley and was back on the tail end of the lead lap. Hensley was shoved out of the lead on lap 181 by Robert Presley. And just a few laps later, Bobby Labonte was punted by Jimmy Spencer. Mike Wallace and Tracy Leslie got together in turn 3, caution number 21. Presley's day was ruined when he was black flagged while leading the race for dragging a piece of sheet metal. Presley pitted, not knowing the piece had just fallen off in turn 3. Spencer was the new leader, and when Waltrip was wedged out of the groove, Tommy Houston had climbed to second, and on lap 260, Houston fought past Spencer, completing a long run from last to first. Presley's dismal day continued when his car hit the wall in turn 1, caution number 24. Spencer and Labonte chased Houston the final 20 laps. Spencer lost his chance with 9 laps left. And when the 26th and final caution flew for Spencer and Jack Sprague just 4 laps from the finish, NASCAR did not restart the field. The race finished under caution, with Houston taking the checkers. Labonte was second, followed by Chuck Bound, Joe Nemechek, and Darrell Waltrip.
Without a doubt, I'm just elated for my crew and all the people that stuck behind me through thick and thin, and the hard luck and everything that we've gone, and there's 50 races that are behind us, and we've finally been able to pull one off, and we will win some more.
We need to take a short break. Still to come on this edition of Inside Winston Cup Racing, we'll meet Tommy Houston, one of the most popular drivers to ever run here at the Hickory Motor Speedway. As we leave you for this break, here's the first of a 5-part series on the Richard Petty Profile.
Brought to you by Champion Spark Plugs. No matter what you drive.
As a race car driver, Richard Petty has had a storybook career, one filled with awards, trophies, and titles. But on Wednesday, the person that people refer to most often as the King was honored for his lifelong achievements, not as a race car driver, but his accomplishments as a person. In ceremonies held at Pfeiffer College in Meisenheimer, North Carolina, Petty was presented with an honorary Doctorate of Humanities degree at the school's chapel.
Well, this is something different. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. It makes you really feel different. Like I told him before, you get racing awards, and you work for those, you expect those, and some of them come, some of them don't. But when something like this happens, it's just out of the realm of my possibilities. So it just really makes you really feel good, and this was a neat deal all the way through. They did it upright, and I feel real proud that they chose me to do this.
It was fitting that after the ceremonies concluded, this longtime humanitarian was once again handing out his autograph. The King, a true hero, and now a doctor. This Petty Profile brought to you by Champion Spark Plugs. Call 1-900-288-PLUG for the latest information on NASCAR events and have the option to receive a 1992 Champion Racing Kit, plus a chance to win a trip for 2 to one of our 4 selected Winston Cup races. 1-900-288-PLUG, $2.95 per call, must be 18 years or older. Void where prohibited by law.
Trust is something you earn.
Arnold Palmer for Jiffy Lube.
And you earn it by doing what you promise.
A complete 14-point service, always.
You only use the best.
The world-class protection of Pennzoil, always.
You deliver on time.
Within minutes, always.
And you're as good as your word.
Your complete satisfaction, guaranteed, always.
At Jiffy Lube, we do your car a great service.
The best drivers, the best mechanics, the best machines. You won't find ordinary tools here. You will find Craftsman tools, 1600 hand tools, made in America, guaranteed forever. If you're gonna run with the best, you'd better have nerves of steel. And tools that say Craftsman.
There's a whole yard full of reasons to get Ryobi's Trimmer Plus lawn and garden system. Trimmer Plus begins with an exceptionally powerful trimmer. You can attach optional tools in seconds, turning the trimmer into a lawn and garden system. So you can edge, sweep, vacuum, and cultivate. If you've got a yard, it's probably full of reasons to get the Trimmer Plus lawn and garden system from Ryobi.
If you thought Banana George Blair had found the fountain of youth,
I'm 77 and still barefooting.
You'd be half right, because the one he's found is actually for his car. With a little Armor All Protectant, George restores the beauty of his dashboard and seats, and in minutes it helps protect his tires from fading and aging.
It keeps my car looking almost as good as me.
There is a fountain of youth, and we own the patent. Armor All.
I hope my teeth don't fall out.
Great golfing moments. Last year, LPGA Hall of Famer Nancy Lopez provided yet another by winning the Sara Lee Classic in dramatic fashion. Soon, she'll defend her title by gunning for glory on Nashville's lush Hermitage Golf Course. It's the 1992 Sara Lee Classic. Some 140 of the world's best golfers will compete for over $500,000. Nancy Lopez will be one of them. The stars of the LPGA tee off in Tennessee, live on TNN.
The name Tommy Houston is synonymous with the Hickory Motor Speedway. I had the good fortune of seeing Tommy start his career here back in the early 60s. He had a lot of success on this track, and he's also had a lot of success in the Busch Grand National Series of NASCAR. You might say that he's a legend in his own time, in his own town.
You know about everybody around, you know the majority of the people. So it's we've got a lot of fans here, and it's a real close-knit deal. So I'm enjoying it, having a ball. We go out to Montana Steakhouse. The guy that owns it is a good friend of ours, and we'll go in there and people come up and they want autographs, and here these people, they bring paper over and want autographs. I said, hang on, man, I'll go get you some postcards, winning a Busch Grand National race anytime means an awful lot, but being able to win at Hickory would mean probably more because you have a real tough field there. And then all the race fans, all the people, all the neighbors, friends, families, everybody right here from home. And my dad's real sick right now. He, we don't expect him to live maybe a couple weeks. And it would mean an awful lot if we could win a race, because I would dedicate it to him, no doubt.
Newton, North Carolina. Small, quiet, and comfortable. A perfect fit for Tommy Houston. A native of the area, his race team is based here, and he lives just a few miles away in the shadow of Hickory Speedway. Tommy has 24 wins, second on the all-time Busch list, and he's one of only 2 drivers to win more than $1 million in Busch Series history.
The Busch Grand National isn't easy by no means because you've got a lot of tough competitors in that series, plus you throw in about a half a dozen Winston Cup guys, and I'm not just talking about Winston Cup show-ups. You're talking about the best that they are in the racing world, and you put those guys into this division along with a lot of the younger guys. Like I said, it's got 4 or 5 years experience, and then guys like Harry and Morgan, myself, that's run the majority of the sportsmen and the Busch Grand National races back through the years, and you got one of a heck of a tough division. I mean, it's hard to make the show in it.
In more than 10 years, Tommy Houston has never missed the show. He's the only driver to start every race in Busch Grand National Series history. 306 in a row, heading into Hickory. In February, Houston was honored prior to the Goodies 300, his 300th consecutive start.
Yeah, that was one of the more special occasions throughout my career and throughout the history of the Busch Series. And I hope really to keep going and see the 500s race. I'm gonna keep on digging on this thing and see if we can't win a championship or 2 out of this thing. I mean, we've come close, but that's something else that's kind of, it's a burning desire for us to do.
Tommy Houston's career has been filled with trophies and tributes. He's finished among the top 5 in points 6 of the last 10 years. He has a patient racing philosophy, and right now, that patience is being put to the test. Tommy hadn't visited Victory Lane since taking the checkers at South Boston in 1990, 50 races ago.
Is it getting tougher to win on the Busch Series?
Yeah, it is. You've got a lot of these younger guys coming on, and like Kenny Wallace and Bobby Labonte and now Jeff Gordon. These guys, they get 2 or 3 years under their belts, you know, of experience in the Busch Series, and they know what it takes to win on these racetracks, and now they're getting the patience to be around at the end of the race, and that's, you know, that's a lot of what it takes.
Tommy Houston has what it takes. His 24 victories attest to his ability and could have been his ticket to a Winston Cup ride.
I got in some Winston Cup cars that were, they were just fillers, or more, so to speak, you know, and just show up at the races and make the laps and make up the field, and that wasn't for me. So I got going in this Busch deal, and I said, hey, I found me a home here, not doing bad, you know, not getting rich at it, but rolling along here and can have a little more peace, you know, a little more time doing some of the things that I'd like to do.
At the top of that list is spending time with his family. His son Scott is his crew chief, and his 2 other sons, Marty and Andy, are aspiring drivers. They have followed their father to Hickory and have the talent and the trainer to continue their racing careers.
And I feel like they'll probably go on beyond Busch Grand National. I think they'll probably go on into Winston Cup racing and have a big racing career. Who knows, it might be the next Dale Earnhardt or Darrell Waltrip, somebody like that, you know.
Or maybe the next Tommy Houston, living the comfortable life near Newton and gratefully signing autographs during dinner at Montana's. But if you can't find Tommy in town...
Well, if you couldn't find me here, you could probably find me at Holden Beach. You know, I'm putting a boat down there it's a 27-foot boat, and I plan on spending quite a bit of time down there this summer as well. So anytime you can't get me here, I'll be there.
Unfortunately, Tommy's daddy, Clyde, did not live long enough to see this story on his son. He passed away in the days leading up to the Mountain Dew 500. Our sympathy to Tommy and all of their family. The NASCAR Winston Cup drivers were off for the Easter weekend, but when we come back, we're going to take a look at the first quarter of the season for them. Stay with us.
Really, we just had some rotten luck. Well, we're way back in the points. We got to get caught up a lot, but we feel like we're just right there as far as winning a couple of races.
And we've had good races. Atlanta, Darlington were good for us. Rockingham, Richmond, and Bristol, they were bad.
It's just tough. We're running well. We're just not having good luck, and it's got to turn.
Richard Petty, the only driver ever to win 200 Winston Cup races, all on champion spark plugs.
Jerry, your help out here really does make a difference in the way I run.
Well, Richard, this is our testing ground. It makes a difference in the way we build our spark plugs, too.
They work for me in both my cars. Whether I'm racing or going home, I depend on champion spark plugs.
You're watching TNN, the Nashville Network.
Guess who just got back today? Them wild-eyed boys that had been away. Boys are back in town, boys are back in town.
The Miller Genuine Draft Rusty Wallace stock car is back in town. So you better hold on.
Spread the word around. Guess who's back in town?
Today, performance cars come in a variety of designs, sizes, and even prices. So do Goodyear Eagles, the world's most successful line of performance tires. There are all-season Goodyear Eagles, new ultra-performance Goodyear Eagles. There are Goodyear Eagles for the classic and for the contemporary. No matter what performance car you own, there's a Goodyear Eagle priced for you. It's another reason we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
If you don't like the looks of your car, shoot it with Son of a Gun from STP. Shoot the dash, seats, tires, and roof. Son of a Gun protectant. Man, What a difference.
Hi, I'm Lori Ann Crook.
I'm Charlie Chase. This week on Crook and Chase, we'll be live from the star-studded ACMs in Los Angeles.
And our guests include Asleep at the Wheel and Janie Fricke.
It's all this week.
Crook and Chase, a full hour, live tonight on TNN.
Put his picture in a picture show. And it's, oh, Daddy, get off of your knees.
His songs have been recorded by everyone. Johnny Cash. John Prine stars on the Texas Connection, Thursday on TNN.
Dale Earnhardt captured the win in the 1991 Haynes 500, but so far this season, he's failed to finish first. We'll see if he can turn it all around when we bring you the highlights of the 1992 Haynes 500.
The Busch Grand National short track season continues with a stop at Lanier Raceway in Gainesville, Georgia. Can Hickory hero Tommy Houston make it 2 in a row? We'll have all the action of the Nestle's 200.
We'll also take you behind the scenes in a Winston Cup weekend. There's a lot more going on than just men and machines. We'll take you on a guided tour at Martinsville.
7 races have been run in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series prior to the Haynes 500 this weekend at Martinsville, Virginia. That's almost a quarter of the season. Well, there were some surprises, both good and bad. Good for Davey Allison and Bill Elliott and Alan Kowicki, who all have been in victory lane. But there were some drivers that everybody thought would be in victory lane in the early part of the year. Didn't work out for them. Randy Pemberton takes a look back at the first quarter of the season.
When the 1992 Winston Cup season revved up at Daytona, Dale Earnhardt and the GM Goodwrench team were once again the acknowledged favorite to capture a 3rd straight Winston Cup crown. But by the time the Tour turned the corner at Bristol, Earnhardt had yet to lead a lap in Winston Cup competition. And it was the furthest he had ever gone without winning a race in his previous 5 championship seasons.
Really, we just had some rotten luck. Little things happen here or there, but I think we'll get it all together. I think the team's staying positive, confident. Just got to overcome the things that change, spoiler rules, whatever. We just working hard to try to get ahead and we'll get it right.
Through the first 7 races, it's been all Ford, highlighted by the Budweiser Ford blitz of Bill Elliott. But even Bill's Ford faltered and failed to run up front at both Bristol and North Wilkesboro. A short track condition they'll have to cure in order to sew up a title. Without any question, Davey Allison's Ford has been found to be the most consistent, leading a lap in all 7 starts and conquering Daytona as well as the first Union 400. Not to mention he has 6 top 10 finishes. All that adds up to the Winston Cup points lead. And speaking of top 10s, Terry Labonte is the only driver to record one in every single event so far. A far cry from last year's frustrating season.
You guys are running like a bandit. I know you got to feel good about it. I guess why? Why are you running better?
Well, I don't think it's any one reason. We made some changes there at the Sunoco racing team, and I think we've really improved our cars. I think our engine program is better than it was last year. I think we got better pit stops than we did, so it's just been a combination of things.
Conforming cars to new templates, among other things, has made it tough on several teams to measure up to last season. Ernie Irvin's first quarter has added up to 0 for 7 top 10 finishes, and that equals 24th place in the points.
We've kind of disappointed everybody, including ourselves, but we're working on it, and the car's been performing well. We just had some bad luck, and we think in the coming times in the races, we're going to be in good shape.
Others that have had up and down starts include Darrell Waltrip, 21st in points. Brother Michael is 23rd. Rusty Wallace had a rocky start, but a good run at North Wilkesboro that brought him up to 10th. And Mark Martin, a Cup contender the past 3 seasons, has been more often than not mediocre.
It's been a tough start for us, and we really didn't expect it. And, just really don't know what's wrong. Things will get better. They always have before. We've got a great race team. I mean, the best, the very best. And they can't keep us down forever.
You'd think Kyle Petty would also be a little down, but even with his mellow start, he's optimistic about the remaining 22 races.
The last 4 races, we feel like I've run better there than I've ever run anywhere at those racetracks before in my life. So I've been real pleased with them. And, you know, we tried some stuff at Rockingham and at Richmond that didn't really work for us. But, you know, the year's been up and down, but we're just getting together and we're just learning things. So, you know, we feel like if we can keep running at this pace, and John's working really hard on the GM motors, the GM heads, then we're going to be tough come the second half of the year.
The 1992 season was also a new beginning for the Bud Moore team. But after Jeff Bodine bagged the Busch Clash, they failed to lead a lap until North Wilkesboro. Not the beginning they were hoping for.
When you're not running good, the key is to finish. And by doing that, we've maintained a pretty good position in the points. So now we're going to go out there and run good. I feel like at all the races. We're going to have to prove that statement, but I think we can.
Several teams have had strong starts, like those of Alan Kowicki and Harry Gant. But if anyone's going to have a shot at the title, they're going to have to turn up the heat on the Haviland Star Ford of Davey Allison. He's leading the points, and he's lighting a path towards a Winston Cup crown.
Today's mailbox is brought to you by Miller Genuine Draft.
Our question today is from Jack Muckey of Wernersville, Pennsylvania, who writes, what happens if 2 drivers qualify at the same speed for the same race? How do you determine their track position? Well, Jack, we'll get 3-time NASCAR Winston Cup champion Darrell Waltrip, who drives the Western Auto Chevrolets, to answer that for you.
Thank you for writing in, Jack, and that's a good question, because up until recently, and recently over the last year or two, it used to be the driver that recorded the time first was the driver that got that position. In other words, if you went out second on the grid and you had the same time as someone that went out 10th or 11th on the grid, then you got the time because you recorded it first. But over the last couple of years, they've decided now they go by the point standings. Whichever driver is the furthest up in the Winston Cup point standings, that's the driver that gets the position. So it has changed over the last few years, and it's a very good question. Thank you for writing in.
If you have any race questions, you can write to us at Inside Winston Cup Racing, Box 240-417, Charlotte 28224. If we use your question on the air, you'll receive this embroidered Miller Genuine Draft jacket free. Fans 21 and under will receive an IWCR cap and T-shirt.
Well, our time's up for today. Hope you enjoyed the show, and you be sure to be with us here next week on TNN for more on Inside Winston Cup Racing.
Inside Winston Cup Racing has been brought to you by coal-filtered Miller Genuine Draft and Miller Genuine Draft Light, taking the country by storm, and by Goodyear, #1 in tires. Transportation for Inside Winston Cup Racing crew provided by Fleetwood Enterprises, makers of a full line of excellent recreational vehicles.
The winners next on TNN Sports Sunday. This is TNN, the Nashville Network, the #1 source for country music, entertainment, and information.